There are certain people who enter your life, touch your heart, and change you in ways you never fully expected. And sometimes, those same people hurt you. Not always out of cruelty, not always out of intention, but because of their own fear, confusion, or emotional unpreparedness. They may pull away, disappear, shut down, or act in ways that break your trust. And yet, despite the pain, despite the silence, despite everything that happened, they eventually come back. Not by accident. Not out of convenience. Not because they suddenly remembered you. When someone hurts you and returns to your life, there is only one deeper reason behind it: their heart never truly left. People don't come back to places where they felt nothing. They don't return to connections that were empty. They don't seek out those they've forgotten. The fact that they came back, even after hurting you, means that something inside them remained tied to you. Something unresolved. Something unfinished. Something real. A part of them always stayed connected, even while their actions told a different story. You live in a place within them that distance could not erase. Before they hurt you, the connection was already powerful. You awakened something in them they weren't ready to face. You touched emotions they had buried for years. You brought down walls they spent a lifetime building. They felt seen in a way that both comforted and terrified them. And when people aren't used to being emotionally exposed, they often react in self-protective ways, ways that cause pain to the very person who awakened them. They pull back not because they don't care, but because they care far more deeply than they expected. When they hurt you, it wasn't because you were unworthy of love. It wasn't because you did something wrong. It wasn't because the connection wasn't real. It was because they were overwhelmed by feelings they didn't know how to handle. Feelings that demanded vulnerability. Feelings that demanded honesty. Feelings that demanded emotional maturity they hadn't yet developed. You triggered something intense inside them, and instead of leaning in, they ran. Instead of opening up, they closed off. Instead of choosing courage, they chose fear. But fear fades. Truth remains. And the heart always circles back to what it cannot forget. Their return is not accidental, it is instinctual. Their soul led them back to you because the connection still lives inside them. They may come back quietly, cautiously, or unexpectedly. They may test the waters or try to reconnect in subtle ways. But beneath it all lies one truth: they never stopped thinking about you. They never fully let go. They never truly moved on, even if they tried to convince themselves they did. People come back when something inside them begins to shift. Maybe they realized the depth of their feelings. Maybe they healed enough to face their truth. Maybe the loneliness of emotional disconnection reminded them of what they lost. Maybe they finally understood that the comfort and safety they felt with you was irreplaceable. Or maybe they had to confront their own patterns, their own wounds, their own self-sabotage, and in that confrontation, they recognized the pain of losing someone who genuinely mattered. You were not forgettable to them. You were not replaceable. You were not just another chapter in their story. You were a turning point. And turning points demand closure, clarity, or reconnection. Their return is a sign that something within them is awakening. A realization. A regret. A longing. A truth they cannot deny anymore. They hurt you because they weren't ready for the depth of the connection. They came back because now they understand what that connection truly means. There is something else you need to know: their return is also an apology without words. They may not know how to say it. They may not know where to begin. Shame, guilt, or fear might keep them from expressing the truth directly. But their presence is a confession. Showing up again is their way of saying, "I'm still here. My heart didn't move on. I'm trying, even if I don't know how." They want another chance, not necessarily to repeat the past, but to correct it. They want to rebuild, even if they're afraid of failing. They want to step toward you, even if they're afraid of being vulnerable. Love pushes people to grow, and losing you forced them to confront the parts of themselves they avoided for too long. You might sense hesitation in them. They may come back slowly, carefully, uncertainly. This is because they are afraid of hurting you again. Afraid of hurting themselves. Afraid of facing the depth of what they feel. But they came back anyway because the pull toward you was stronger than their fear. The connection between you was louder than their doubt. The truth inside them finally became louder than the distance they tried to maintain. When someone hurts you and returns, it's because the lesson wasn't complete. The connection wasn't finished. The growth wasn't done. Your story has another chapter waiting to unfold, not because destiny forces it, but because both hearts still carry pieces of each other. You may not understand the timing. You may not understand the purpose yet. But something in them shifted in a way they can no longer ignore. This return is a moment of choice, for them and for you. They now stand at the edge of vulnerability, unsure of how to move forward but certain that they cannot walk away again. And you stand at the threshold of possibility, deciding whether this connection still holds a place in your heart. Whatever you choose, understand this truth: their return is not proof of weakness or confusion. It is proof of love. A love they didn't know how to handle the first time. A love they ran from because it required growth. A love they are now being guided back to because something inside them has finally awakened. If these words spoke to your heart, take a moment to support this space. Like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who may need this message today. Your presence helps these messages reach those who are searching for meaning, healing, and hope. Tell me in the comments, do you believe they came back because their heart never let go? Your truth might be exactly what someone else needs to hear right now.